The power of Stoic philosophy in today's world. In a world where distractions are endless, expectations are high, and the pace of life is relentless, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and lost. But what if I told you that achieving true inner peace and clarity doesn't require you to add more things to your life? What if it requires you to eliminate the distractions, the fears, and the habits that hold you back? That's where Stoic philosophy comes in. Stoicism, a school of thought founded in ancient Greece by philosophers like Zeno, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, is more than just an ancient philosophy. It's a practical guide to living well, finding peace, and building resilience. And while the world around us may be chaotic, Stoic philosophy teaches us that we have the power to control how we respond. Today, I'm going to walk you through 15 things you need to eliminate from your life in order to live in alignment with Stoic principles. By letting go of these distractions, you will create the space for true happiness, inner peace, and personal growth. So, let's dive into the first one. 1. The mask you wear for others' approval. We've all been there. The pressure to fit in, to meet other people's expectations, to present a version of ourselves that is more acceptable to the outside world. Whether it's the way we talk, the way we dress, or even the way we act, we often wear a mask to make others happy. But what happens when that mask becomes your permanent identity? You start to lose yourself. The Stoics believed that true peace comes from living authentically, from being honest about who you are, without worrying about how others will perceive you. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, taught that the opinion of others should not dictate your sense of self-worth. If you constantly seek validation from others, you will never feel complete. True freedom and inner peace come when you shed the mask and embrace who you truly are. Letting go of this mask doesn't mean being rude or cold. It means embracing genuine confidence, living life in a way that feels true to you. It might cost you some relationships, but the people who leave weren't truly connecting with your real self anyway. 2. The illusion of tomorrow. How often do you find yourself saying, "I'll start tomorrow"? Whether it's a new habit, a goal you've been putting off, or something you know deep down is important to you, there's always an excuse to wait until the perfect moment. But the Stoics taught us that the perfect moment doesn't exist. Tomorrow is an illusion, and by waiting for it, we miss out on the present. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." When you delay starting, you only delay growth. The Stoic mindset is all about taking action now, no matter how imperfect the circumstances. You don't need to wait for the right time. You need to start now with what you have. There's a profound freedom in realizing that today is the only day that matters. The action you take today, even if it's small, is the only thing that can bring about real change. Stop waiting for tomorrow and start living today. 3. The weight of your past. We all have a past, and sometimes it can feel like a weight that drags us down. Whether it's mistakes we've made, things we regret, or painful experiences that still haunt us, these memories can hold us back. But the Stoics remind us that you are not your past. You are who you are now, and that's what matters. Epictetus taught that we cannot change what has already happened, but we can change how we respond to it. You don't need to carry the weight of your past. When we constantly ruminate on past failures, we keep ourselves trapped in a cycle of guilt and regret, preventing us from moving forward. The key to letting go of the past is forgiveness, both of others and yourself. True freedom comes when you stop identifying with past wounds and start living in the present moment. It's not about forgetting what happened, but about choosing to learn from it and move forward. Part 2. Breaking free from negative patterns. 4. The fear of being vulnerable. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in today's world, but Stoic philosophy teaches us that it's a strength. Fear of vulnerability keeps us from forming authentic relationships and living fully. When we hold back, when we keep ourselves closed off, we miss the opportunity to connect with others in meaningful ways. The Stoics understood that true strength comes from embracing vulnerability. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This means that when we open ourselves up and show our true selves, we allow others to see who we really are. If they can't accept that, it is a reflection of them, not of us. By eliminating the fear of vulnerability, we open ourselves to deeper connections, honest communication, and a more fulfilling life. 5. The pressure to please everyone. The need to please others is a trap that many people fall into, especially in today's world where we often seek external validation. Whether it's agreeing to things we don't want to do or pretending to be someone we're not, people-pleasing drains our energy and peace of mind. It's exhausting to live for others, and it prevents us from focusing on our own values and desires. Seneca warned against the danger of trying to satisfy everyone, saying, "It is not the person who has too little, but the person who craves more that is poor." The more you give of yourself to others to make them happy, the less you have left for yourself. True peace comes when we stop living for others and start living for ourselves. By setting boundaries and saying no when needed, we take control of our lives and stop letting others dictate our happiness. The Stoics believed that personal integrity is more important than external approval. It's time to stop sacrificing yourself for the approval of others. 6. Constant worrying about the future. We often find ourselves worrying about what might happen in the future. Will I be successful? Will I be happy? Will things go according to plan? But the Stoics remind us that worrying about the future is a waste of energy. Most of what we fear will never happen, and when it does, we are usually more capable of handling it than we think. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Worrying about the future only robs us of peace in the present. The Stoic practice is to focus on what you can control right now and trust that whatever happens in the future will unfold as it's meant to. Instead of obsessing over the what-ifs, take action today and let the future take care of itself. By focusing on the present moment, you'll be more prepared to face whatever comes your way without the burden of unnecessary fear and worry. Part 3. Mastering your own mindset. 7. Negative self-talk. We all have that inner critic that tells us we're not good enough, not smart enough, or not capable enough. This negative self-talk can hold us back from reaching our full potential. But Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to change our thoughts. Our thoughts are not facts, and just because we think something doesn't mean it's true. Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to control your thoughts, for they are what make you who you are. Instead of letting negative self-talk control your life, choose to change your inner narrative. The Stoics believed in training the mind to focus on what is virtuous and true, rather than what is wrong or flawed. By practicing self-compassion and challenging our negative thoughts, we can eliminate the power they hold over us. This mental discipline leads to greater self-confidence and peace of mind. 8. Overthinking and paralyzing yourself. Overthinking is a common trap that many people fall into. We analyze every decision, worry about every outcome, and end up doing nothing because we're too afraid of making a mistake. But the Stoics teach us that action is the antidote to overthinking. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." The more we overthink, the more we delay taking action. Instead of overanalyzing, focus on the next small step you can take. The Stoics believed in taking action in the face of uncertainty and learning from whatever comes next. The key is to stop waiting for perfection and start moving. Each small action will help you build momentum and confidence. Part 4. Building resilience and inner strength. 9. The desire for external validation. We live in a world where validation from others is often equated with success and happiness. Whether it's likes on social media, compliments from peers, or praise from our employers, many of us base our self-worth on how others see us. But the Stoics remind us that true validation comes from within. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Stoics believed that relying on external validation makes us vulnerable to the opinions of others, which are often fleeting and unreliable. True strength comes when we build our self-worth based on our values and actions, not on how others perceive us. Instead of constantly seeking approval, focus on becoming the best version of yourself, and let that be enough. Self-approval, grounded in integrity, honesty, and virtue, is far more fulfilling and stable than any external recognition could ever be. 10. The fear of change. Change is one of the few constants in life, yet it's something many people fear. The unknown can feel intimidating, and we often resist change because it brings uncertainty. But Stoicism teaches us that change is a natural part of life, and that resisting it only causes unnecessary suffering. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Change can be a source of growth, even if it feels uncomfortable. The Stoics believed that we should embrace change with open arms, seeing it not as something to fear, but as an opportunity to improve and learn. Instead of fighting change, accept it. Adapt to new circumstances and see the opportunities that come with them. When we embrace change, we become more resilient and adaptable, and we develop the strength to face any challenge that life throws our way. 11. Over-attachment to material things. In today's society, we are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we need more possessions, more wealth, more status. But the Stoics believed that true happiness doesn't come from material possessions. In fact, attachment to material things can be a major source of dissatisfaction. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." When we become attached to possessions, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Material things are temporary, and they can easily be lost or taken away. The Stoics encouraged us to detach ourselves from the need for material wealth and instead focus on cultivating inner peace, virtue, and wisdom. Living with less doesn't mean depriving yourself, but rather finding contentment with what you have. The Stoics believed that true wealth comes from within, and by simplifying our lives, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Shada. Over-reliance on external circumstances for happiness. How often do we tell ourselves, "I'll be happy when I get that promotion," or "I'll be happy when I lose 20 pounds"? We often place our happiness in the future, waiting for external circumstances to change before we allow ourselves to feel joy. But Stoicism teaches us that happiness is not dependent on external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The Stoics believed that we have the power to choose our thoughts and mindset, regardless of what's happening around us. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances to feel happy, we can choose happiness in the present by focusing on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and responses. By focusing on internal sources of happiness, such as gratitude, self-reflection, and personal growth, we can find joy in any situation. True happiness is not something that comes from the outside. It's something we cultivate within. Part 5. Mastering the art of self-control and wisdom. 13. The illusion of perfection. In our society, we are constantly bombarded with images of perfection. Perfect bodies, perfect careers, perfect relationships. This creates unrealistic expectations and a constant feeling of inadequacy. But the Stoics taught us that perfection is an illusion, and the pursuit of it only leads to frustration. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The Stoics didn't believe in striving for an unattainable ideal of perfection. Instead, they encouraged progress over perfection. The key is to focus on constant improvement, not achieving some perfect state of being. Instead of chasing perfection, focus on making small, incremental improvements each day. Perfection is a never-ending pursuit, but personal growth is something that can be cultivated at any time. The Stoic mindset encourages us to embrace our flaws and see them as opportunities for growth rather than sources of shame. 14. Overthinking and paralysis by analysis. We've all been there, spending hours, days, or even weeks overthinking a decision, analyzing every possible outcome, and debating the best course of action. But the Stoics believed that overthinking only leads to paralysis, preventing us from taking action and moving forward. Seneca wisely stated, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Overthinking steals our time and energy, keeping us stuck in a loop of indecision. The Stoics encouraged us to make decisions and take action, even if we don't have all the answers. By doing so, we learn and grow from our experiences, and we move closer to our goals. To break free from overthinking, take small actions, even if they're imperfect. Trust that each step forward will bring clarity and that you can course correct along the way. The key to success is action, not endless deliberation. 15. The fear of failure. Many of us fear failure. The idea of not meeting expectations, of falling short, or of making mistakes. But the Stoics taught that failure is not something to fear, but something to embrace as a natural part of life. failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The Stoics understood that failure is a stepping stone to success. Each failure teaches us something valuable, helping us to become wiser and more resilient. Instead of fearing failure, embrace it. Recognize that every failure brings you one step closer to success. By removing the fear of failure, you free yourself to take risks, learn from your mistakes, and ultimately achieve your goals. The quiet revolution of Stoicism. As we conclude this journey through Stoic philosophy, remember that the Stoic path is not about radical outward change, but about cultivating inner peace, resilience, and wisdom. The Stoics teach us that true freedom is found in letting go of what no longer serves us and focusing on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and responses. By eliminating these 15 distractions, fears, and unhealthy attachments, we make space for a life that is aligned with our true values. We stop seeking validation from others. We stop fearing failure, and we stop worrying about things we cannot control. Instead, we focus on living with virtue, embracing change, and taking action in the present moment. The quiet revolution of Stoicism begins within you. You have the power to transform your life by choosing to live according to Stoic principles. Let go of the distractions that weigh you down and start living authentically. Your true self is waiting to emerge. Seneca said, "Life is long if you know how to use it. The time to start is now. Begin today and embrace the Stoic path to true inner peace." Part 6. Living with Intention and Mastery. 16. The distraction of social comparisons. In a world driven by social media and constant comparison, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We often measure our success and happiness by comparing ourselves to others, their accomplishments, their possessions, their lifestyles. But the Stoics remind us that comparison to others only leads to dissatisfaction. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we lose our sense of personal satisfaction. The Stoics taught that true wealth is found in contentment, being satisfied with who we are, regardless of what others have or achieve. Instead of looking outward, focus inward. Measure your success by your own growth, progress, and integrity. Eliminate the distraction of comparison and find peace in knowing that your journey is unique and it doesn't need to match anyone else's. 17. Procrastination and the fear of starting. We've all experienced it, putting off important tasks, delaying our dreams, and waiting for the perfect moment to start. But the Stoics teach us that procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. When we delay action, we waste precious time and energy, and we miss opportunities for growth. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." The Stoics emphasized that action is the antidote to procrastination. Instead of waiting for the perfect conditions, take the first step. Even the smallest action can break the cycle of procrastination and propel you forward. Don't wait for the right time to begin. The right time is now. Start with what you have, and trust that the path will unfold as you take action. 18. The need for constant distraction. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with distractions. From our phones to social media to endless entertainment, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the noise. But the Stoics taught us that distractions are the enemy of focus. When we allow ourselves to be constantly distracted, we lose sight of our goals and our values. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When we're constantly distracted, we allow our minds to be filled with noise instead of purpose. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate mindfulness and focus, to dedicate time to deep reflection and intentional action. To eliminate distractions, set aside time each day for stillness and quiet, and focus on what truly matters. By doing so, you create the space for clarity and purpose in your life. 19. The fear of losing control. It's natural to want to have control over our lives, our circumstances, and the people around us. But the Stoics understood that true freedom comes from letting go of the need to control everything. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how hard we try, we cannot control everything. Epictetus taught, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Instead of trying to control what is beyond your reach, focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. When we let go of the need for control, we open ourselves to the flow of life and the peace that comes from accepting what is. By eliminating the need to control everything, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and frustration. Learn to flow with life, trusting that things will unfold as they are meant to. 20. The burden of unresolved emotions. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but sometimes we let them dictate our actions, leading us to make impulsive decisions or hold on to anger and resentment. The Stoics believed that emotions should be observed, not acted upon immediately. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The Stoics recognized that unresolved emotions, particularly anger and fear, can weigh us down and cloud our judgment. They encouraged us to observe our emotions with detachment, allowing them to pass without letting them dictate our actions. By practicing emotional discipline, we can eliminate the burden of unresolved emotions and respond to situations with clarity instead of reacting impulsively. This allows us to live with greater peace and control. Part 7. Cultivating virtue and living with purpose. 21. The illusion of constant busyness. In our modern world, we equate busyness with productivity. We fill our days with meetings, emails, and tasks, and we often feel proud of how much we have to do. But the Stoics understood that true productivity is not about how much we do, but about how well we live in alignment with our values. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't be busy with your business or with the things you do. Be busy with what you should be doing." The Stoics taught us to focus on what truly matters, living with purpose. The key to true productivity is intentional action, not filling every moment with work and distractions. Instead of focusing on constant busyness, focus on meaningful work, work that aligns with your purpose and values. By doing so, you will find more fulfillment and peace, and you'll avoid the trap of mindless activity. 22. The fear of not being enough. Many of us feel like we're not enough, not good enough, not talented enough, not successful enough. But the Stoics remind us that our worth is not determined by external achievements or accolades. We are enough simply by being true to our values. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your value doesn't come from what you accomplish or what others think of you. True worth comes from living with integrity, honesty, and virtue. By living authentically, you can silence the fear of not being enough. Let go of the need for external validation and embrace the truth that you are enough as you are. Your worth is inherent, and it comes from living a life aligned with your values. 23. The fear of missing out, FOMO. With the rise of social media and constant connectivity, the fear of missing out, FOMO, has become a pervasive issue. We see others living exciting lives, achieving great things, and feel like we're missing out. But the Stoics taught us that true happiness comes from within, not from comparing ourselves to others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee." The Stoics believed that happiness is not found in external circumstances, but in how we respond to those circumstances. FOMO is a result of comparison and the desire for external approval. Instead of focusing on what others are doing, focus on your own journey. Your path is unique, and true fulfillment comes from embracing your own life, rather than longing for someone else's. Embracing the Stoic path to true freedom. As we've explored these 23 things to eliminate from your life, remember that the Stoic path is about living with intention, authenticity, and peace. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. By eliminating distractions, fears, and attachments, we free ourselves to live a life that is aligned with our true values. The Stoics knew that life is uncertain, but by focusing on virtue, wisdom, and resilience, we can face any challenge with grace. The quiet revolution of Stoicism begins within. By embracing these teachings, you can cultivate inner peace, live authentically, and find true freedom. In the words of Seneca, life is long if you know how to use it. Start today and let Stoicism guide you to a life of fulfillment and peace.